It's time for Motohop on Air.
Welcome to episode 4.
Yep.
Yep, we're here.
Still here.
Over 100 downloads. That was exciting.
It was exciting. Did we talk about that last? Yeah, we just.
No, it happened after the last one.
Oh, so they don't know about our adventure. Just Instagram knows.
Yep. If you're not following us on Instagram, there's reason to follow us on Instagram.
Secret adventures.
Yeah, it is, September 14th, episode 4. A whole bunch I've got slated to cover. We'll see if we actually get to all of it. We might not.
I was kind of shocked at how much news there could even be when you sent me the agenda for today. I kind of just glazed over for a second. And then doom scrolled on Instagram for a few seconds and watched a few dog videos to kind of like pump me up.
And now we're here.
And now we're here. And then I drank some coffee. Like, I feel like my mind will probably be buzzing.
Yeah.
So hopefully my mouth can keep up, or maybe we're better off if it doesn't.
Hopefully mine can. I'm kind of nursing a sore throat, so you may take over the podcast today. We'll see.
That's probably not for the best.
Yeah, well.
I could read the articles.
Yeah.
It'd be like...
Close enough. I'll just grunt in confirmation or something.
That was my plan.
But
I've been listening to podcasts trying to figure out how to like talk to you when I don't know what to say, and grunting is definitely one of the things I'm going to start doing more. Mm-hmm.
Well, to help nurse this sore throat through this podcast, what is in my cup tonight?
A hot toddy.
A hot toddy that I told her to make a double, and then realized that she was already making it with 2 ounces of bourbon before I told her to double it.
It's going to be a cozy night for you.
It is going to be a cozy night. We'll see if I'm still here at the end.
Maybe fine. Just sip it slow.
Yeah.
That'll
What do
be
you
good
got?
for you. I'm playing it safe with just your average Target sparkling water. They have a tropical cherry, which is probably my favorite flavor. Just got to rehydrate after all that coffee and caffeine I had this afternoon. So
Yeah, I do like the tropical cherry. It's pretty good.
It is.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm just utterly shocked how many bikes are being dropped or close to being dropped. We're still like a month and a half, maybe probably a little more than that, out from EICMA. I don't know.
You're talking about new bikes being released, not people literally dropping their bikes.
Correct.
I
New
was a little
bikes-
worried for a second
Yes,
about people dropping.
New bikes being released. You would typically, when we get to this point in the year, any of the big news is going to be held off to be announced at EICMA. EICMA is like one of the big industry shows.
Because a lot of aren't like cars and stuff getting like car makers releasing a lot of stuff right now, like
Well,
Detroit Auto Show's going on.
Sure. So it's always the gamble of, do you release before EICMA and try and get coverage, or do you wait until EICMA to be like, the big news of the show?
Oh, it seems like a good idea to do it before. Then you can kind of pace yourself a little better. Otherwise, like if everyone waits, everyone would just be competing with each other. And plus you can like create some marketing hype, like get people there
Sure.
to cover it and kind of like, I don't know, get kind of dibs on people's time.
Yeah. Well, before we jump into new bikes, let's start with Harley has a recall.
Didn't they have one a couple weeks ago?
Indian had one a couple weeks
Oh.
ago.
Gotcha.
Harley's recalling a little over 65,000 Softails. Link will be in the show notes. If you have a Softail, I believe it is
It's a lot of bikes.
20, depending on the model. The oldest models are 2018 all the way up to 2023 models. An HTSA says it's affecting 65,224 units. It is the fastener securing the rear shock absorber. It may break and allow the rear shock absorber to damage the rear tire, causing loss of tire pressure.
Good Lord.
No
I wonder
big deal.
how long-
Just hopefully it doesn't happen at speed.
Some of these bikes are 4 years old already. I wonder how many problems they have to have in order to be like, maybe this is actually a real problem.
Apparently they waited a bit.
Oh my God. Sorry to those who were affected.
Yeah. So, link in the show notes. Check NHTSA, National Highway Traffic Safety Association. I think you can just punch your VIN in and it'll tell you if you're affected. Harley also is running into some trademark issues in India.
Okay, so I actually looked at that article.
Okay. And what do you know?
it was a little bit confusing. Like, first of all, my main question is why? So, like, it's over the name X440. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, and the X440 or 440 or however you want to pronounce it, but those characters.
So why though? Like, what are the chances of there being an overlap in this naming convention?
Well, so in India, because of tariffs, the way it's set up, a lot of manufacturers, like Harley, isn't, to some extent, like they ship bikes into India, but they've made a deal with Hero, who's a large motorcycle manufacturer, to make these bikes in country to avoid the tariffs. And they're small displacement bikes that are going to be badged Harley. The hiccup is Hero did not apply before another company, an electric motorcycle manufacturer, Ultraviolet, I believe is how it's pronounced.
Does not sound Indian at all, by the way.
They applied for the X44 nomenclature and were approved before Hero/Harley applied for the X440.
Do you think that this was like just an odd coincidence, or do you think it was like malicious?
On whose part?
I mean, really, either one. Did one of them, you think the chance that like someone got winded? I feel like Harley should know better, that if they really like had thought this up on their own, that they would have like proacted a little faster. Like they know better than that, right?
Yeah, well, it wasn't just them. The trademark is technically applied for by Hero, since they're the ones manufacturing the bike, I guess. Yeah, I mean, minor oversight, but they're either going to have to change the name now of this model, or they're going to have to get Ultraviolets, basically like them saying, good to go, run with it. And as a small electric motorcycle startup, you probably don't want your model name being one digit off of a Harley model.
No. I could see maybe Harley just offering them a chunk of money or something.
Yeah. Or Hero. Hero's huge.
Yeah.
So, Thunder in the Valley, if you are not kind of East Coast.
I'd never heard of it.
Yeah. Large motorcycle rally in Pennsylvania.
They said it's been going on for like 20 or 25 years or something.
Yeah, it's been going on for a minute.
I had to look up the city. So it's in like was it Johnstown?
Yeah.
Pennsylvania, which, did you know where that was without looking it up?
I mean, I don't know specifically where it is, but I know of Thunder in the Valley.
Just like southeast of Pittsburgh, maybe south a tidbit, but as being an Ohioan, I was kind of like, I mean, it's a small enough town. There's enough that I've never heard of, but.
Yeah. I mean, I knew it was a close enough rally that I see advertising for it every year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't pay attention.
But basically, the board of directors for the Visit Johnstown, group, organization, they just aren't putting the rally on anymore. So
I looked into this one too. Yep. You should be really proud. I actually read some of these that were like marketing related, because I can actually be like, what the hell? So it sounds like it's just a tourist group. So it's literally like Visit Ohio.
Yeah, it's the tourism group to bring business into the town. Yeah.
Yeah, so it seems like they just kind of took this on and didn't realize how like time consuming it would be. They say it's not profitable, but part of that is probably just like how it's run. Like,
yes,
you could make it profitable if you wanted to. Like, that's not at the fault of the rally. That's how the organizers have it structured. They probably, maybe those people are, I imagine there's not a huge turnover of employees at the
local
visitors
shops.
bureau.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Like they're probably just tired of it, which, we've been volunteering for almost 10 years with tech conference. We're starting to see turnover and stuff. Like, you do get tired and just want to move on sometimes.
For sure. But yeah, I mean, it's a big enough name, at least in this area. It's not Sturgis, but it looks like the expenses that they have been able to figure out in this article was in like 2021. It costs that Visit Johnstown organization a little over $400,000 to put on the rally. It also claims that it generated about $460,000 in revenue.
Yeah, I wonder what they expect. Like, they say that it doesn't generate a lot in revenue, But like to who? To the tourist like bureau? Isn't that probably like volunteer or nonprofit to begin with? It's kind of like a weird like thing to complain about, like not getting profit, and then you're like, yeah, but your job is to like do good to the businesses
The local
involved.
businesses,
Yeah,
yeah.
like if it's you wanted it to be profitable, like I don't know. I also would be interested where all that money's broken up, but part of that's just because we're so involved with other events that like
Yeah, I feel like half the story is missing here.
yeah. So the article that you linked, I thought it was super interesting. I don't know if you caught the line, but the person they are interviewing, the executive director, who is like spokesperson for the fact that they're stepping down.
Yeah.
She cited economic changes, motorcycle riders aging out of the hobby,
Yeah, welcome to Harley's issue with their
insurance costs, and the challenge of getting volunteers among the reasons that led to this decision. So I can totally see why getting volunteers would be a problem because people are flaky and they suck. But the fact that like motorcycle riders aging out of the hobby, like, are they saying that like everyone's too old? Like, what?
Yeah, the problem is there's not enough motorcyclists replacing the ones that are like, well, they've moved to a trike and now they can't run the trike
So
anymore.
why wouldn't they just say like dwindling attendance? Why point out the fact that people are getting too old?
I mean,
It
fair,
seems-
but also if they know the issue is the fact that riders are aging out of riding.
I don't know. That seems kind of
You know.
like a
Well,
little
I think-
too specific.
I think
it
it's
sounds
a way
like
to pass the buck
I
and
don't
not
know, but,
say
like,
we suck at drumming up attendance.
Well, I guess so, but I would say like attendance, wouldn't necessarily be their fault. People just have a lot going on, and it is what it is. I wouldn't have thought about it, but the fact that they're like, yeah, everyone's getting too old. I'm like, wait a minute, that seems like a really weird like allegation of like it sounds like people are still showing up. They just don't like the age of them. So the way that that's worded, I just felt like it could have been improved a little bit.
That's funny.
It's a bunch of grumpy old men coming into town every year. We just don't want to deal with it.
Yeah. I mean, it very well may be part of their issue. QJ Motors and SSR just finally make it official. We already kind of knew this was happening, and Cleveland Motos covered it. QJ Motors will be distributed by SSR in the United States. They've got a press release out about it. The weird part is QJ Motor, who also owns the Benelli badge, is trying to push their QJ Motor brand. Like Benelli already has brand awareness.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
SSR, who they make the SSR bikes for SSR, at least as far as I have known, they have brand awareness. Have you ever heard of QJ Motor?
No, I thought it was like a new model or something when you like linked that on there. I
Nope,
was like,
it's a brand.
New. No, I've never heard of it. And most of the things I hear about though are through you, and like you've
Sure.
never mentioned it, so I figured it wasn't like.
Yeah, I mean, it's just weird that they're trying to push their house brand, which is not, in my opinion, a very attractive name.
No.
So, I don't know.
Sounds like a very generic, like two people
Yeah, I think
QJ or whatever it was.
Yeah, I think when Phil was talking about it on Cleveland Moto, they kind of brought up the fact it's like if you have the same exact bike and one says Benelli on the side and one says QJ Motor and they're the same price,
Sounds like the Amazon version.
yeah,
Of
which one are you
Benelli.
going to buy, right?
Not the Amazon version. I mean, yeah, especially if there's not
Yeah,
a price
the generic
break.
brand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like the 135s are pretty sweet. They've got some cool looking bikes on the horizon. I hope people get excited as much as they think they're going to get excited, but I really wish they would just keep the Benelli brand as their main brand, and QJ Motor just has like no appeal to me.
Well, maybe that's like part of an acquisition or something.
Yeah.
Maybe they're going to make it disappear. But before we go on,
Yeah.
I think there are a few more things we could touch on for that Thunder in the Valley thing. I thought it was also interesting that they do at least act like they want it to continue.
Okay.
So if someone
Well, yeah, they're trying to find someone. I forgot about that part. They're hoping that they find someone to just take it over.
They're like, oh yeah, we're
So-
interested in passing it on.
Yeah, so if you have nothing better to do and want to take on the responsibilities of an almost $500,000 rally, for reference, the one conference we work with is like a ballpark $1 million a year budget.
Yeah, and a lot of that
And it's
goes
kind
into
of a
like
lot.
food and housing.
Sure. But I'm just saying, like, on scale of events.
Most of that's probably in marketing.
So it's not a small lift. I forget what their attendance numbers were. It's not like your local poker run.
I don't know if they said. I
It's
feel
a-
like
it's
that
a-
would have stuck out to me.
Yeah, I saw it somewhere, but I forget.
I even looked up at a couple different articles to see if I could get like any juicy information on like what they were going to do with it. I didn't really like it was pretty copy and paste from one article to the next of what they want to do.
Yeah.
But they said I did say that they had someone who was like semi interested already, but they're obviously weren't going to mention anything.
Yeah, here we go. Let's see what year this was from. 2016, they had nearly 200,000 people attend Thunder in the Valley.
200,000.
Yeah.
That's insane. And it probably got bigger before it shrunk from COVID.
Yeah.
I would imagine it got bigger probably like a couple years after that.
I just don't know how you're like I said, I feel like half the story's missing on the numbers with the expenses versus income. Because number one, it's like a tourism group.
And that's like the
But-
best way to bring in like what?
Yeah, but like, what do you got to do? Charge $5 for a patch and break even? Like, if you have 200,000 people,
Maybe they're the ones getting old.
and your revenue is 460-ish thousand, you're charging $250. Like, you know,
Maybe they just don't know how to charge. Like maybe maybe it's them being too old and not the attendees, and they just don't know how to use like the magic interwebs or something on like fundraising, and like they literally just don't know how to be resourceful and
yeah.
making it thrive because
They just need to do like free beer and then charge like $10 for the bathrooms.
are you charging for a bathroom, or at least like have porta potties and then have?
No,
Like-
charge for all of it.
I'm not opposed to the idea. They do that in some of the other countries, and the bathrooms
Yeah.
are actually guaranteed to be a lot nicer because they're actually tended.
Yeah.
You can, I mean, $10 for a beer is not unheard of at an event, so
No.
have at it, or
Free
then
beer.
you
$10
sponsor
to
it.
use the bathroom.
Oh God, I think you're getting a little crazy, but I think you could split that and have it like a local brewery. I don't know. I feel like every town has a bit of culture you could tap into. At least being so close to Pittsburgh, like they could tap into the Pittsburgh market and get some really good sponsors and stuff.
Yeah.
Food trucks. I mean, I don't know anything about what the event currently is, and it's a bummer that
Was.
that they're not going to throw like one last one. So something happened at the event this year for it to be September. That happens late June for them to just probably be like, oh hell no, not again. You know, like that something must have gone down that they just decided it was the last straw.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know. If someone picks it up and runs with this, we'll have to go next year. We'll report back.
yeah, it would have been nice if they would have, obviously, if they would have known this and said something before, they could have marketed it differently. You know, it's always good to tap into people when they're like in the buzz of an event, you know, like people get really hyped, people love events, and like, who knows who has connections to something? You just can never over-inform.
Yeah. Just browsing through a couple articles whenever I was looking for attendance numbers. There was an article from 2022, and they have Gina Kite, co-owner of Dan Kite Pinstriping, says they've been going to Thunder in the Valley for at least 18 or 19 years and does, quote, very well at the rally.
So the vendors are doing
So the
well.
vendors are happy.
Yeah. So that's probably a lot
Yeah.
of people that are going to be a little sad that if it doesn't pick up before next year, because I can imagine that's probably a lot of those vendors' biggest event that they go to. That's probably a big bulk of their income.
Yeah. I don't know. I still feel like we're missing half the story, or someone's just really bad at managing finances.
Money
on that board.
laundering, or
Yeah.
what do you call it when people take money that they shouldn't? Maybe it had potential, and this lady that says everyone's getting too old just took some and doesn't want to do it anymore. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, definitely a little bit shady.
Yep. Speaking of shady, what a good transition. Honda is bringing the Transalp to the U.S. 2024 model year.
Transalp, one word.
Yep, Transalp. It's a adventure bike, like middleweight. It's smaller than their Africa Twin adventure bike.
Oh, it looks like a dirt bike with smaller wheels.
Yeah, I mean, sort
Like, is it
of.
a dual sport?
So an adventure bike
Is that what that is?
or adventure touring. Yeah, it's like, think dual sport meets a touring bike.
Looks fun.
Oh, I mean,
Let me guess, you want one?
yeah.
Oh, God.
I mean, some touring bike, like the Himalayan is in this, other than like this is a bigger engine than the
It's
Himalayan.
like the perfect size.
But The US version is going to have less power.
Why?
Well, the best anyone's been able to come up with so far, because the reason we know this
Did they
is
struggle
from
with the
EPA
translation?
filing.
Oh, from
No.
like, I thought maybe it was like that standard and metric getting us again.
No. So they think that maybe the engine is limited to less RPMs to meet a sound requirement for the EPA.
Oh, well, I guess that would be a good reason.
Yeah. It's still making 83 horsepower, but the European version's making 90.5 horsepower.
So that's not, I mean, not a 10% dip, but I mean,
getting there.
9.5%.
Yeah. I mean, bummer. But if it's literally just like a software, like
It's
rev
like locked
limiter,
or something.
yeah, aftermarket will have that sorted out pretty quick. Slap a new exhaust on it. We have ways.
You know people.
Yeah. And then also recently, Honda on Instagram, and not even like Honda motorcycle, just the Honda Instagram account.
Which is a big deal.
Yeah.
So
They
have followers.
posted,
5.3 million followers.
yeah, it's the main Honda account. Posted this new, they're calling it the Motocompacto. It is an electric, like, interpretation of the Motocompo.
So what it looks like is an external battery that you would charge your phone from, but add wheels and a little
A pedestal seat and handlebars. Yeah.
I would like to see what someone looks like on it. It looks kind of silly. It looks almost surreal. It looks like
Listen,
a toy.
All I'm telling you is
If
if
you
they
want
make
one.
this thing, well, first off, yes, I want one. I think you would want one because you are kind of
I feel
Honda
like-
fangirl.
I am. Honestly, like Honda's the only thing in the motor world that excites me.
Yeah.
I think we need to make a sticker that says I want one.
Yeah. But if they make this,
hmm
I can virtually guarantee we will see them somewhere. Where do you think that is?
Cities.
No.
No.
Vintage days.
Oh, those tires are sketch on there though. They're
I
so
know.
small. They look like little stroller tires. Is straight up what they look like.
Listen, if they make this thing a reality, someone's bringing one to Vintage Days.
Hopefully, it doesn't cost. How much do you think it's going to cost? Let's play a game. What do you think it's going to cost?
Boy. Well, it's electric.
I'm going to say $5,300.
No, nowhere near that.
Really?
Yeah, because it's the
says
hashtag they
affordable.
put on it was electric scooter. They have a link in bio. Let
And
me
they
click on that.
used
But
the,
this is what I'm thinking. Yeah,
Lightning bolt emoji.
take the original Motocompo. Original Motocompo did like 25, 30, maybe 35
And
miles
those
an hour.
retail for like 6 now, almost 6, upper 5.
Well, yeah, but that's demand. The fact they're not making any more of them. But look at an e-bike. You can get an e-bike for like $700 now.
I love e-bikes.
Right.
I want one of those. Again, it's not practical though. It's just not practical in our current geographical area.
Well, it depends on the e-bike. The problem is so many of them like don't follow rules
yeah.
to fall into the 3-class system.
If you worked in the city or something, it might make more sense.
Well, but again, it has to fall into the 3-class system for you to be able to like legally ride the bike anywhere. California's already started cracking down on all these e-bikes that don't actually fall into e-bike category. Wow. Yeah. Okay. So they have a lot more on this than I knew of. It is, when it's folded, it's 3.7 inches wide, 21.1 inches tall, and 29.2 inches long.
Okay, so
That's like book bag.
I was gonna say that's like the
Backpack.
size of what, like a carry-on.
Yeah. Okay. Max speed 15 miles an hour, 12-mile range. Fully charges in 3.5 hours. Weight capacity 265. Does 0 to 15 in 7 seconds.
0 to 15. It's like
Yeah.
a bicycle downhill.
Yeah. So I don't think they can make this thing over 2. I guess maybe a little for looks. If they're over 2,500, it's going to be a minute before these things take off. But I think it's going to be under 2,000. Because if we're talking, if their spec is 0 to 15, that means the top speed's probably somewhere around 15.
Let's see here. The Autopian, they say under $1,000. The Honda Motocompacto, God,
Yeah.
is a foldable electric scooter for under $1,000, you can actually buy. Oh, and they even have like a cool little graphic of the original. I guess I could have sent this to
Motocompo?
you, but I'm like showing you my computer instead. This is kind of.
But I don't see anywhere you can buy them yet.
Well, I don't know
It
how
says
they
stay
got that.
informed.
Obviously, I'm not gonna
Yeah. Listen, if it's under $1,000, we're gonna have 2 of them.
and race them.
Yeah, I mean, probably
I wonder how long they charge in that stuff. Like,
3.5 hours. It says to full charge. It's got
so it
12
takes
mile
3.5
range.
hours, 12 mile range. That's pretty good though.
How many? How many?
I wouldn't
miles
want
do
to
you
ride this
think-
little thing for very far.
No, but I mean, how many miles do you think we ride at vintage days?
Probably 3 to 5.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I wonder if
Now,
you
15 miles an hour might get you run over.
So
but
can you charge it in your electric car?
I think it would.
Like, how are you
going
going
to
to charge it on the go? I'm sure it probably has a 10 volt.
How are you going
but-
to charge it on the go? I don't think.
Or do you need to go to like? I know that's not the. Well, I guess that's true. You probably. I wonder how universal these chargers are and stuff yet, but
I mean, it's going to be like a 110 volt for the U.S. wall charger.
so you can take it into your hotel room and charge it overnight.
Yeah, I mean, it's not very big. Back to folded, like 3 3/4 inches wide.
49 cc.
About not 49 cc. This is electric. The original Motocompo was 49.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, but 3 3/4 wide, a little over 21 tall, 29 inches long. I mean, that's not that big.
I'll have to tape off the wall and see.
Someone would. I mean, like the front desk would be like intrigued as to what you're carrying up to your hotel room.
I'm a little
it's
bummed
like-
it doesn't have pedals on it, like a little like moped situation.
Well, it's got
but-
pegs that flip out.
Yeah, the pegs are cute.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that seat. It looks like my butt would hurt.
And just take it off and put like a big old tractor saddle on there.
Then it probably won't fold. Let me see if they have
You
any
don't
pictures
have
of
to.
it folding down there. I don't know why these. Well,
If you
Of course
scroll
we're
to
not
the
gonna-
top of the Honda page, they have a little animation of it folding.
oh, I'm not on the.
It's like
Honda
third
page
or
still.
fourth section down. Yeah. It's pretty slick. The
It's fun.
seat literally disconnects, drops in a slot. The handlebars rotate like from the like 9 and 3 o'clock position to 12 and 6, and then the whole like handlebar and steering stem slides down.
So
and
you
then
know what it reminds
folds
me of?
in.
It looks like these electric scooters you literally hop on and ride, but with a seat. You know what I mean? Like the ones you just
I mean, like a bird.
grab. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it-
or a
like,
line.
I found a picture that like I'm like, oh, it's kind of like the same
The
structure.
wheel size. The difference is one has it's got a seat and it doesn't have like the standing platform.
Yeah, but overall, kind of
Yeah.
like.
It's that
That's what-
aesthetic.
oh, is there a picture on that one of someone sitting on it? There is on this website. The Autopian.
I
Granted,
mean, it doesn't look any goofier than other little things we ride around vintage days.
it's white though.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be. Back to the Honda website. It
Dude,
has people like
This is a lot of sticker real estate.
Yes. That's literally, they have them wrapped at the bottom. They say, express yourself. Make a statement with the Motocompacto sleek and simple side
This
canvas.
is a drivable billboard. This is a large
Yes, it
flat
is.
space. You could do some sweet LED lights on this. Can you
Yup.
get like some sort of a panel that you
Yeah.
could like draw some pixel art on?
100%.
You're-
Or just like a straight up like display. 3M tape to the side of this
How
thing.
fun and distracting.
Yeah.
Honda says this will cost $995 when it comes to Honda and Acura dealers in November or via Honda's Motocompos site,
Wait,
which is
November of this year? Is this
I would
a
assume.
US site you're looking at?
autopian.com. There's probably a way within tech for me to send this to you. AirDrop. Here you go.
Okay.
This is
Um,
near the bottom.
Oh, wow. It's like top of their homepage.
They're stoked.
I mean, I'm getting more stoked.
I think
the more we read
someone
about
said
it.
something about Honda not being able to take their money fast enough. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you wrote this.
Weighs just over 40 pounds. Not bad. I mean, batteries have to weigh something. It really does look like a just almost briefcase when it's folded down.
Yeah. I wonder how they'll change it. I don't know. It's definitely something new. So it's
Well, if it's
Like-
coming in November, it's got to be mostly finalized.
from in the marketing standpoint. I'm like, okay, this is something we really don't have. Like, it's
Here's
not
the
really
one
going to have like a
hiccup, though.
competitor of like this is something that isn't really happening right now, other than maybe an electric scooter. I don't know what the culture is right now in the city of people pulling scooters out of the back of their cars, other than the ease of renting them. Although with all the liability of those, maybe those are going to leave the streets. You know, maybe people are just tired of crashing and hurting themselves. At least this is something you can get used to. You'd acclimate to it. It's yours.
Yeah, I mean, here's the issue I see.
Theft.
One, I mean, to some extent, but you can just fold it up and take it with you.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Like into your business meeting.
Why not? It's like the size of
There's
a briefcase.
probably GPS or something. Maybe
Yeah.
it looks like it kind of looks like an Apple thing. Maybe there's an AirTag in it.
But so the issue is it's not an e-bike. Okay, no pedals. Can't.
Yeah, that makes me sad.
Yeah. And unless we start really getting into the technicals of how the 3-class rules are written and how
you know what it
states
looks
interpret
like?
them.
It looks like one of those folding tables you take to a picnic.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, like the little
Like
white
there's-
injection molded plastic card
That's
tables.
exactly what it looks like.
So it doesn't like no bike lane because it's not an e-bike.
There's nowhere you can really legally ride it.
Yeah, and if it doesn't get a VIN, you can't like plate it.
So like cool idea, but not in the States is what we're
Yeah.
thinking. Like Italy.
Well, I mean to some extent, but what's the Italian laws on it, right?
Yeah.
It's not like Italy's this lawless wasteland,
Cool little baby dash though.
but it would be. You might be able to, depending on where you're at, moped.
Those tires, I like that look like they'd be very good all terrain. Like if you're thinking vintage days or something, like oh man, your booty's gonna hurt.
Listen,
It
just
looks
because
like
it
it's made
comes
for
with tires
sidewalks.
doesn't mean those tires have to remain on it for the rest of eternity.
That's true. Can you get little like 7 or 8 inch all terrains?
Yeah, they make those little
Like stroller tires?
the little Segway 9-bot things they make off-road versions of.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know. This got way more exciting than I was expecting it to be. I thought it was cool, but I thought it was a concept. Apparently, it's going to be a real thing.
I mean, I don't know what their source is for writing this article.
Apparently, more information than we have,
Well, if
or
you
Honda has on their
if
website.
you scroll down below the last picture, which is like it on like a gray background, is where they talk about November.
I know, but they just reference the Honda website. It does appear that this is a U.S. website, so November in Honda and Acura dealers in November in the U.S. hopefully, just in time for Christmas.
Womp womp.
All right, done on the Motocompacto.
I am if you are.
Okay. It is the week of the iPhone event.
Yes, it is. And you know what? The Motocompacto actually costs less than an iPhone.
Depending on the iPhone, yes. Yes, it does.
So choose carefully, you people with $1,000 jingling around in your pocket. You could either
That's
go
pretty
somewhere
good.
cool on a little nerdy device, or you could throw one in your pocket that no one ever sees.
Yeah. But, so the one cool thing they're adding, I was a little vocal when they added the satellite SOS functionality. I thought it was fantastic. I was surprised it did not get more coverage from a motorcycle angle, especially when you're talking about adventure riding. There are plenty of people who ride their motorcycles beyond cell coverage.
Okay, so what you're saying is that like the triple tap or something on the...
No, so the satellite SOS was the fact that if you were outside of cell coverage, you could use your phone to send a message to be like to communicate with first responders to find you on the side of the mountain you're stuck on by your phone, basically walking through aligning it with a satellite to be able to send a text message to this dedicated like command center.
I guess you have to be in the right frame of mind if you're like lost and in a panic to like, number one, not just kill your battery on your phone, but to think like, this is what we would need to do.
Sure, but this wasn't an option before last year.
Okay.
If you didn't have satellite SOS, which no one before last year did, unless you had a GPS or a satellite communicator and you were outside of cell coverage, smoke signals,
Yeah.
right? So this is now an option
Probably
on a
like-
device you're likely to have with you anyways.
Where you were last seen is where they would start because they can track where you were last pinged or something, right?
Maybe.
Oh.
Depends on how far outside of cell coverage you were. But they added the satellite functionality. But it was for SOS purposes, right? They're sending first responders. They're sending the search and rescue helicopter. This year, though, they're adding roadside assistance.
So what does that mean?
Well, that means when you're on your Harley out in the middle of the desert, and you get a flat, and you don't have cell coverage, they'll send AAA to you.
How do you use that? Is it like it's in the phone somewhere
Yeah,
then?
your
Like
phone
built
has it.
in?
Yeah.
You should probably link something
Yeah.
for people.
Yeah.
Because it's something like, who really... Technology moves very fast for the average person to keep up with. So it'd be cool. Maybe that's like something for you at some point to like make a list of all the things that you can learn as a motorcycle rider of like already built in. Things that don't cost extra. That is like, what should I know? And things that you should be creating awareness around with your focus groups, because those are things you have to know before you go out on an adventure. Because once you're out there, you can't Google it.
Yeah. I mean, the phone walks you through, but you have to get to the point that you are triggering that.
But you have to know what's in there in order to look for it. Like,
Sure.
you can't just assume it's going to walk you through. Like, how do
Yeah.
you tell it that you need
Apple
help?
focused a large amount of last year's event and a decent amount of this year's event on it. But I know
Not everyone
they're
watches.
longer than
But-
your attention span.
It's true. But also, if that's like a conversion factor, if you understood the advantage of that, people who aren't already Apple may not be watching the event. Like, that's something that could be marketed differently
Yeah.
as like a new prospect.
I think that's a good idea, though, because there are things that motorcyclists should know their phones can do and have done, like things they should complete. Like, you should have your ICE, your in case of emergency contacts filled out in your phone. You should have your medical information and your medical ID in your phone. I'm pretty sure Android has counterparts to most of these things Apple has. I know you and most of my family members know that, like, the last time I refreshed my Apple Watch, I got a cellular one,
Mm-hmm.
specifically for the morbid reason of if I'm ejected
Fall
from my
detection,
bike
right?
and I do not have my phone on me because my phone's on a mount on my bike, yeah, I have a way to trigger 911. And now they've added crash detection to all of these.
Mhm.
So now you don't even have to be conscious enough to do that.
You just have to like cancel it if it detects that, like G-force or something, right?
Yeah, I mean, but so far it's been pretty reliable from what I've heard.
Yeah, and what's the worst that happens? You get called, and you don't need it. Like,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, all right. So
But yeah, good idea for a topic.
I started a list for
I'll
you.
work on that. Okay. Now into a bit of rapid fire new model release. Royal Enfield Shotgun 650, certified for the US. So for 2024. So it should be landing next year. I'll throw in the links. The original, how we kind of got to the Shotgun 650. They did a concept bike a few years ago. It was a V-twin. It was kind of cool. They brought out the parallel twin platform, the 650. They talked about doing like a cruiser. We kind of have the Meteor 650. The SG 650 or Shotgun 650 is like bobber-ish. I don't know. I really like Royal Enfield. I do not love the look of this bike. There's something weird about the lines. I guess my mind is just trained to like Harley Davidson, where if you look at a Harley Davidson and you continue the line from the steering neck across the gas tank, it normally ends at the rear axle. The proportions of this are just weird. The seat isn't against the rear fender, but it's not separated enough that it looks like something like the Triumph bobber. I don't know. I'm sure someone out there will like it. I hope for Royal Enfield's sake, someone does.
Do they have like a Royal Enfield that they put street tires on like that normally? Like, do they have a bike this big already?
Yeah, I mean...
Okay, well, most of the ones I've seen that you were into were like the dual sport kind of like
Yeah, they only have one
chunkier
model
tires.
like that. The Himalayan. Everything else is
The
a road
only one
bike.
I've paid attention to. Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah, do you remember the one with the orange tank? That was the Interceptor 650. That was a road bike.
Meh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the only cool Royal Enfield cruiser I've seen so far was the Roland Sands custom one he unveiled at Sturgis this year.
Doesn't really
They
have,
basically turned it into a chopper.
this one like doesn't
ish.
have spokes. Barely.
Yeah, I mean, it's like mag wheel. It's just got really big brake rotors, so you can't see anything.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't stand out to me as anything special, but what do I know?
Yep. Okay. Next one. BMW has new middleweight models, or refreshed middleweight models, depending on how you want to look at it.
Oh, these are fun. I will say, like, the BMW brand, you know, I'm loyal to Honda, but since we got our Bimmers, that it's growing on me. Like, the whole, I don't know if these brands have what you'd want to call a cult following, but like, it's kind of a loyalty to kind of being like,
Yeah.
I like you, you've not done me wrong yet, like, I trust you,
Yeah.
like, let's go out to lunch, you know?
We should go buy a BMW motorcycle.
Oh my god. We need some sponsorships.
Although
anyone wants to sponsor
their scooters are
his
kind of
hobbies
cool looking.
and my coffee.
And if we talked about like
Their
at some point
scooters?
upgrading
I don't think
a
I've seen
scooter, the one they still make in the States is a 400 GT. I believe C400 GT. They had a 650 scooter for a while.
Woof.
Yeah. But so basically,
Doing the
they
Google.
took the 850 and the 750 and gave all of them another 50 cc's ish of displacement. So now instead of the F850 GS and F850 GS Adventure, they're now the F900, and the F750 GS is now the F800 GS. And if you were wondering, like I was wondering, why they have an F800 GS and an F900 GS, the F800 is more road oriented, and the 900 is more dirt or non-pavement oriented. Why they didn't just make a different trim with the same exact engine, I haven't the slightest idea. But they didn't.
I'm kind of lost myself on the BMW scooter page.
Okay.
Are you familiar with the CEO2?
Yeah, it's electric.
Whoa.
Yeah, all their CEs. They've got the
That's
04.
cute. Well, I mean, would that be a competitor of that little Motocompo thing? Or no?
Not price-wise.
Yeah, this thing is like $8,000.
Yeah, they're a little pricey. They're cool looking, though.
It's very cool looking. And it's bigger. It kind of gives me Ruckus vibes.
Yeah, I can see that. It's very utilitarian
Yep.
looking, stripped down.
The words right out of my mouth.
Yeah.
I had no idea this thing existed, and now I'm like lost. Plus, it comes in teal, black, and white color scheme.
I'm pretty
And
sure
I've
I
derailed.
sent that to you at some point.
You send me a lot of stuff.
Apparently, I just didn't
stopped
send
paying
the teal one.
attention. It didn't register.
Yeah. It is a sweet looking bike.
Yeah, cozy. But for $8,000, you do a lot with $8,000
Yeah.
when you look at used ones. But I guess you can find a used one of this too.
They just
Who
came
knows?
out with this, so it's going to be
Just
minute.
kidding. Never mind. Next year.
The 04, I think, has been out long enough that you could probably find a used one. But the CEO2 is fairly
A
new.
little chunky.
Yeah.
I like it. I like something that looks sturdy. I think as a new rider, giving it a little bit of like, I don't want to say girth is such a gross word, but like substance just kind of looks like, oh, I can tip it over. I can, you know, it
Yeah.
doesn't look fragile. It doesn't look
It
like,
looks like you're not going to hurt it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
And most
let's
of
go
that's
play,
because
you
it's like there's no plastics on it or whatever. It's just like
know?
metal.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get that. Okay. So Moto Guzzi came
Him
out.
again.
Yep.
God, they are
Moto
alive and
Guzzi
well.
again. Yep. They're just firing stuff out. V7 Stone Corsa. So we took the V7 Stone, base model V7, made it cafe racer-esque.
Eh,
Basically put like a bikini fairing on the headlight. Silver
it's
and
not
red.
giving me Cafe Racer. It's not like steampunk enough.
I mean, okay. Racing bike, sport-ish, retro. Like, I guess
okay.
define cafe racer, and I'll
I
tell you where
mean-
it differs. But
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's smoother. And maybe it's the fact that it's just not super dark. You know, a lot of cafe racers in my head are like they said, like steampunk. They're a little
I
more
don't know that
flat
I-
across the back. The seat's giving me not flat. I don't.
flat seat's more of a brat style.
Oh, okay.
Typically, I mean, we're splitting hairs, but most cafe racers have some type of solo seat with then like a rear portion that keeps you from sliding backwards.
I don't claim to be an expert.
But,
I'm just giving you first impressions of a non-motorcycle rider. I would not look at that and be like, cafe racer, because I like the cafe racer aesthetic, and this does look a little more
retro
street.
modern.
And honestly, some of their artwork has it on a racetrack. It's poorly photoshopped, but maybe it's a video, but I'm not going to click it. It is like parked on a raceway.
I don't know. It's interesting. It's weird that they chose this model. To me, it is their kind of base model, air-cooled V-twin. It's not a bad-looking bike, but like, why didn't you... I don't know. I guess if it just feels weird to me that they're doing it for the V7. The V9 is like being completely ignored. And then everything else is the new water-cooled platform. And that's where all the news is coming from.
We don't even know anyone with a Moto Guzzi, do we? It seems like a kind of a distant brand to me. Like it's something I'm just not... Next time we see one, you'll have to point it out, because I just think I'll be surprised.
Yeah, I don't know. It exists. It's kind of cool looking, if it's your thing. $96.90 MSRP on the Moto Guzzi site. Okay. So, last episode of, or one of the last episodes, I don't even remember which one now.
There's only three.
I was working on the Royal Alloy GT150, tinkering with a few different things on it, listening to Cleveland Moto. They brought up this brand, Zeths.
Naja?
So they brought up Zeths because of a different model, which I'm blanking on right now, but it's like more of a sport. Oh, it is it was kind of funny. Was it ZRF or whatever? It's like a modern, like retro sport bike. Think like 90s dual headlight thing. So I'm poking through their site though. They have this.
It's annoying.
Yeah. Naja 250, NAJA 250. This thing's wild.
It's a cool looking, very chromy.
It's like a factory. I mean, it's not a rigid. It's basically a soft tail frame, but it looks very chopper-esque, like Sportster tank look. Springs on the seat, tall sissy bar with the turn signals mounted to it.
Little tiny handlebars.
Yep.
Like short.
Yep. Dual exhaust because it's a 250 V-twin. I don't know, 21-inch front tire, 16 rear. It's pretty slick.
It's pretty.
Yeah.
It's very shiny.
I don't know that they'll ever bring it to the U.S. If they do, I'd probably buy one.
Oh, of course you would.
But
where is it at? Japan?
No, China.
China.
But so when I saw this, it kind of reminded me.
Maybe they could use your help with their website.
Yeah,
Nothing works.
Yeah, a lot of it's broken.
I don't know how I feel about buying a bike from a company that is struggling with a website, but maybe I'm be unrelated. Maybe it's just lost in translation.
But it reminded me of Cleveland Cycle Works had a bike. It was the Heist that was supposed to be like the super customizable, custom chopper cruiser thing. And it was a 250. I think maybe they made a 450 for a minute. Single cylinder though, not V-twin. That is the one cool thing that Zeth's Naja 250 has, is V-twin going for it. But I have seen Cleveland Cycle Works pop up on Instagram recently.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking for dealers again.
Well, shout out to them because they have women on their homepage.
They do. But so when Cleveland Cycle Works first was announced, I was excited. I'm like, sure, they're not technically making them here in Ohio, but the company's kind of in Ohio. Well, the company was in Ohio. They're working with a Chinese manufacturer, but we had Cleveland on a bike again. And I remember the first time I saw one out in the wild was at, I forget, 2016, maybe 2017.
Where?
The Greater Akron Motorcycle Club's Centurion Run.
Okay, well, I wasn't there.
No. And it was, I believe, an ace, maybe a misfit I saw. It was an ace. And I was so stoked that I saw one out in the wild. I really wanted them to win.
Win what?
Just like
Come out on top?
yeah,
Be
just
like not so underdog, you
yeah,
mean?
become big, people know of them, be able, and then like, get a bike that has Cleveland on it, right?
I think people kind of
Northeast Ohio. Woo,
like
right?
yeah, in their defense,
Yeah.
I mean, I think most everything is manufactured in China. Like you can't be hating on them
Yeah.
for that. Like
And they came out with like cool custom like parts for their bike specifically.
I think I like the
the
Misfit
Heist.
the best.
Yeah. So here's what happened though. I forget the founder, CEO's name, president, whatever he is. He wanted to get into electric. And if I remember correctly, originally they were calling the model the Falcon. Then it was like its own brand. And then I think it had another name. And then they named it, the model became the District. And the company became Land Energy. But they call it Land Moto. And they're doing an electric bike. And I don't know. It's cool. Like most of the electric bikes, it costs more than I think most people want to spend on it. And there's people that are buying them. And I'm glad they're selling these bikes. And that bike is, I believe, almost wholly manufactured in Ohio. Or at least the US. A lot of it is.
They have a pretty thorough history on their website, which is pretty cool. I mean, it seems like they have really good intentions. They talk about
On
believing in
whose website?
Inclusion. Cleveland Cycle Works.
Yeah.
Again, more women in their pictures as if it's like normal. It'd be interesting to read through that because I didn't realize how historic their presence has been.
They have on here that the reason they went dark for a couple years was COVID. Oh, this is interesting. I guess I missed this part. It said they finalized their transition to a new business ownership.
Yeah, 22 to 23.
Yeah. Well, maybe that explains more of it because it seemed like they just went dark because all the energy
Well, they
went
say
into the
COVID,
electric
but maybe
bike.
it like got bought by like private equity or shifted. Yeah, they say COVID, but maybe that was part of the transition.
Yeah, so it just felt like this brand got neglected for Land / Falcon / whatever
We
it
should
was
go
called.
there. We should go check it out.
I don't know that there's a place to go.
Well, but you can become a dealer.
Yeah. So they're bringing bikes back out again, which is cool. But they're also getting into like four-wheelers. And they have on their website this under SPV, I assume special purpose vehicles, the Hauler, which is like an Earl competitor or Ural or however it's pronounced. They make a 450 and a 500.
Ooh,
It's got a sidecar.
I was
Yep.
going to say,
Yep. 5 forward gears, 1 reverse gear. No pricing.
So
They
this
don't
is
really have
just a
anything going on.
brand? They don't have a showroom?
I don't know that they
I
have
went to
any
the
showroom yet because it was like
Contact
their
page
entire.
and it just takes you to literally a contact page. They've got
Yes.
a map here on their
This
website
is-
that you can click on, but it's like, this is where Cleveland is. And you're like, okay, buddy.
Yes. This is literally half of what I'm getting at is it was like they neglected the brand, collapsed their dealership network, and now we're trying to get dealers again. And I didn't see it publicized anywhere that there was an ownership change. I was not aware of that if there actually was. And it just felt like they're only starting to back up because maybe the electric brand isn't doing so well, which may be totally wrong. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, I mean, everyone deserves a second chance. Hopefully they can rebound themselves a little bit and maybe show up somewhere. I don't know where, unfortunately. We don't have our motorcycle show anymore, which would have been perfect for them to kind of like go represent. But, if they're just not coming back from a new ownership, maybe they're still trying to figure out everything.
Yeah, I guess
Plus, they probably
I might
lost.
try and-
Probably had a big employee turnover. They might be starting from almost nothing.
Well, yeah, I mean, if it's an entire new ownership, I just don't know. That was not publicized anywhere. I think I may actually reach out to them to see if I can get any clarification on that. But the whole, where they transition into land and they're building this electric bike called the District, it like is close to good. I mean, it's interesting because it kind of, in some ways, makes the Harley Livewire Del Mar less of a good deal. You're looking at, if you want their District Scrambler, it's got top speed around 70 miles an hour, so slower than the Del Mar. But 120 mile range, probably all city. Bike weighs like 240 pounds. $11,400 if you want the 120 mile range. And it's a very modern looking bike. Like all tubular frame. No
Which
real,
one are you talking about?
This is the Land Moto District.
Oh, what a weird name.
Yeah. Well, Land, like Cleveland,
Oh.
right, is I think how they ended up with Land Moto eventually. There's just all these electric bikes or electric motorcycles that are currently hanging out in this, call it $8,000 to maybe $13,000 range.
It's not a small chunk of change.
Yeah, and they like,
But not for a first rider, anyways.
yeah.
But most of your bikes have been like a couple grand. I mean,
I'm trying to think.
what's the most you think you've paid?
I think the Vulcan's the most expensive.
And that was 5?
Yeah, I think like 6 something.
The adventure to get the Honda was probably the most.
Yeah.
But the bike itself wasn't.
No, I don't know. Sportster may have ended up being more expensive just because of like,
Because of the adventure
Flying to
involved. But that's an
Florida,
experience.
riding back
That's
and
not a
everything,
fault of the bike. It's no one's problem where we come from.
yeah. But when you're talking like 12 grand on a bike that's like barely over 100 mile range, most of these don't have DC fast charging. Like, I just don't know that they have really justified their use case entirely to me. And maybe it makes sense to someone else. And if it does, explain it to me.
Let us know.
Yeah. Because I just don't fully get it.
We'd love
But-
to love them. There ain't nothing
I-
better than
I
a
think-
local.
Yeah, I think the big issue is like their price has to be what it is because of the batteries. If battery pricing can come down, then all these bikes make a lot more sense.
I'm sure it
real
will.
quick.
I feel like we're kind of like at the peak of increase here with all these things. Like the technology is so rapid. Like so many people have been hesitant to even buy cars, which we're much more familiar with. And I feel like, I don't want to say lower risk because the financial risk is much higher.
Yeah.
It's gonna plateau. It's gonna chill out here soon. Everything's just getting really getting a lot better really quick.
Yeah. So this kind of though transitions into the next things. I feel like the floodgates are opening on electric more than they even have been, which whenever I thought about starting this podcast, nowhere in my mind was like, did I think I was going to spend this much time talking about electric motorcycles?
It is the current state of affairs.
Yep, but here we are.
Then I think it's just new and exciting. I think the kind of cool thing that happens when something new comes out in an industry is it kind of levels the playing field a little bit for everyone. Whether you've been riding a bike for 50 years or, 5 months, everyone's got the same experience with an electric bike if they've never been on it.
Yeah. So I don't know if you're going to have any strong feelings on the next part.
Is it
I guess the
you want?
easiest way is think of an old car that you think is really cool. Does that exist in your head?
I can look at a car and appreciate it. Like an old car, I can be like, wow, that's
Okay, think old late 60s, early 70s muscle car.
Okay.
Right? Can you
I got
picture that in your head?
yeah,
Do you know what it
boxy.
sounds like? Right? And there's smell and it's an experience, right?
Yeah.
What if you took that car and ripped the V8 out of it and put an electric motor in it? How would you feel about that?
Yeah, that's definitely changing the experience. the smells. I mean, it kind of completely changes the utility of the vehicle. Like, it was built that way for a reason, and if you change its reason for existing, you would change its build. Like, nothing should stay the way it is because of the way things are. And I see that, you know, even with like, okay, well, we built Teslas, you know, they look like a car. Do they really need to look like a car? Like, can we really completely revamp this into something that's completely different?
Sure.
To an extent, people are so adverse to change that you need things to be a slow transition for the general adaptation of humanity.
Sure. But if you're taking this vehicle that provides a very specific experience, right? Especially muscle cars. And you're removing, like, muscle cars were muscle cars because of their ridiculous, you know, not always high displacement, but big displacement engines. Right. And like the sound of them and the smell of them and the feel of them is like most of like what makes a muscle car a muscle car. With that being said, I've seen certain electric conversions. I'm like, that's kind of cool. It's
different,
not the
though.
same.
No, it's different. You're changing the culture. You're changing your target market. I mean, you would take, you know, a same car, a muscle car, and make it easy and cheap to run. All of a sudden, women even, you know, might be like, that's cool.
But we're not talking about selling these. We're just talking about like the experience the item provides.
Okay.
Like, I go to a car show. I want to know that when I walk up to that 68 Camaro and the dude fires it up, I'm going to hear like crazy lopey cam and like he's going to rev it and blow someone's eardrum out and stuff. And like, that's what I expect. When I walk up and I find out it's an electric conversion, I'm like, okay, that's cool. It's sitting here and I can't hear any of that. And until you pull out of here and try and rip a burnout and, you know, maybe run over a small crowd of people, until that car is in motion, I can't see that it's cool and powerful. And it's different to me because speed and power is so easy with electric.
But after a certain point, let's say in like 100 years, if that generation of people only know electrical vehicles, they're not going to have the same reaction.
But I'm talking right now, right? The reason I bring this up is Sportique Scooters is converting a Vespa Sprint 150, like not a modern one, an old two-stroke one, into an electric scooter. And I'm intrigued by it.
It doesn't have to be bad. It's just different.
I'm not saying it's necessarily bad. I'm saying it's changing the experience significantly. And you're taking a vintage Vespa and like, I don't know.
You're very sentimental about things.
I'm not
too,
saying
though.
you're ruining it.
You're changing it. And you have to go into it with those expectations leveraged. You can't go in it expecting a certain thing. But you're not good with change with anything. So, like...
No, but here's the thing. I love the idea of electric vehicles. But, like, you're... Again, I'm not saying you're ruining it. But you're, like, tarnishing the experience. That vehicle had a very specific experience it was designed for.
For a certain time that no longer exists, probably, though, too. If you take a 30-year-old, 50... Well,
sure.
Let's say we're taking 60s. Yeah. That's... Hold on,
but
math.
To your
Another
point,
60 years ago, that world doesn't exist anymore either.
But to your point, why chain yourself to that car design? If you have no reason to accommodate an internal combustion engine anymore, you can design the car in all kinds of different shapes. So why modify the 1969 Dodge Charger to be electric?
I don't know. Because you can. Why do you do anything ridiculous?
Sure. And for that, fine.
Why are people putting gummy bears in chocolate? Because they can.
That sounds awful.
It is awful. But, you know, you're changing the experience. It's just, unfortunate. I mean, to an extent, though, if you're just trying to modernize things to keep them relevant, there's nothing wrong with wanting to keep things like out of a landfill, keeping them relevant.
And that is the sole, like, point that makes it okay with me.
Is if you are things relevant.
Keeping these things in a functional state where they can continue in some capacity, right? If I don't know that we'll ever get there, but if we get to a point that you just cannot get gasoline, I'd rather see this old Vespa, or I really can't picture like what is a panhead without the panhead in it. But, if that's what it takes to keep old Harleys or old muscle cars on the road, sure.
Yeah, from if you were to take that from like a environmental standpoint, imagine like what do you call it? Not disqualifying, like discontinuing all gas vehicles. Imagine all the material. Like there's so much stuff out there already that if you can modify it to keep it from, there's no way all the cars could end up at a landfill, but yeah,
no,
you just have to.
They can't do that. Like they're going to stop production of new gas vehicles, but no one's going to show up and like crush all of your current gas vehicles. The logistics are just not good.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So I'm intrigued to see what Sportique does with this.
Where are they from?
Sportique?
Yeah. Not a huge account.
Oh, I forget.
Colorado.
Portland, Colorado. Yeah, there you go. Colorado.
Pacific Northwest-ish. They got some cool stuff on their account.
Yeah. Cool scooter dealership. Link
Apparently been around for 25 years.
Yeah, link will be in the show notes. Check it out. Follow along. They're going to be posting on Instagram videos as they go through this electric conversion.
And we are open-minded, aren't we?
Yes. More electric bikes.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So
you were charged up when you wrote this.
Yeah. Well, this is an intriguing idea. So Nokomoto already made an episode addressing this, which I was hoping Pete got this because I don't know, some number of episodes, months, weeks, I don't know. Time is just a construct ago. They discussed the idea. We have all of these changeable battery power tools, Milwaukee, Makita, DeWalt, whatever. Why aren't they making small bikes, scooters, whatever, that use these essentially drill batteries or tool batteries?
Do they really have that much power?
Well, they're running riding lawnmowers on these batteries.
Well, I guess that's true.
Right?
I was thinking a drill when you said that. And I was like,
multiple batteries. So Ego has released sort of, it's the Power Plus mini bike. It kind of looks Grom-esque.
It cost as much as 1.5.
Oh, did they release?
Moto.
Wait, did they release pricing?
On what?
The Ego?
Oh, wait a minute. I'm on the Greenworks link. Is that not the same one?
Nope.
Oh.
No. So
ignore me.
Yeah, the Ego doesn't have pricing released yet. 28 mile an hour top speed, 20 miles of range on 2 7.5 amp hour of their ARC lithium batteries.
They do not have a photo of an adult on this bike. 3
forward speeds and reverse.
It reminds me of like one of those little cars you would sit in as like a 4-year-old and drive around. I need to see a human
Power
on
wheels?
This. Yeah.
Well, they say mini bike, but like I said, it looks
like it has plastic little tires.
This is just a render, but go Google it. There's other articles about this. This is just a link directed to the Ego website. Hydraulic disc brakes front and back, which is kind of cool. This, I'm pretty confident. The Honda Motocompacto, I don't know. We'll probably see at least one at Vintage Days, because if it's under $1,000, we'll have one and it'll be at Vintage Days.
No video to see my eye roll.
The Ego mini bike, I really think this could be a hit in some ways, especially if people already have like an Ego leaf blower, lawnmower, or whatever.
Well, at least if they can put a plate on it, they're already ahead of the Motocompacto or whatever its name is.
Yeah. It's got a headlight. I doubt it's going to have a VIN number.
20 miles of range, 28 miles per hour, which is further and faster than the other little meeper.
Yeah. The question will be where they land price-wise, because it looks more modern. It looks like a Grom. It kind of has like a battery compartment, almost like a Honda Navi's like empty cavity shape.
I'm going to say, I would guess, which is completely uneducated, between 1,500 and 2.
Yeah, I don't think they can be outside of that. because the other link, if you click on it, the Greenworks,
Yeah, that's the one I clicked on before and totally
is available now,
1,500.
$1,500, and it comes with 2 batteries and a dual port rapid charger.
Honestly, it looks like the
It
photos
is
that they show has
uh-huh.
like a woman in like a farming type environment, and that would be like a perfect get around the farm type vehicle. Like if you've got a lot of property,
Yes.
like they literally show the tires in a field, all terrain is what they're pushing it as. They've got high visibility headlight. It looks
Yeah.
like it's sitting on the side of a country road. Yeah, I can see.
Yeah, it's basically like they took a 200-ish cc mini bike. You know, think your Coleman 200cc mini bike, but it's electric.
It just looks weird because there's so much empty space. Like,
Yes, which means if that is reconfigurable, number one, you have a tray to transport stuff, which is kind of cool.
Underneath, you mean?
Yeah.
Like where the footboard is, kind of?
Yeah, where the engine would be.
You could put like a couple dozen eggs under there, maybe.
Well,
It's not
it may be
huge.
bigger than it looks because that tire is 19 inches tall.
Yeah, the pictures don't really show it well.
Yeah. But up to 25 miles an hour, up to a 20-mile range. It's got a headlight. $1,500. You can get a mini bike cheaper. But again, if you have Greenworks batteries already and just want to add to it.
Yeah, they got a video that shows all their different stuff. So it takes 6 of those batteries and a lawnmower. And I'm not saying that they're the exact same ones, but
Yeah, I
they're
think
really
they are. They're just all their 60-volt batteries.
compatible with 60 tools, unlimited runtime with interchangeable batteries. So if you've got a lawnmower, you've already got those interchangeable batteries. 6 of them at 20 miles per hour each. I mean, that's 180 miles.
So 2 8-amp-hour batteries get you the 20 miles.
2 amp. What?
When
Need
you
2 of
buy
those
it,
batteries?
it comes with 2 batteries.
Oh, so
that are
maybe
rated
the
for
extra
8
battery
amp
can
hours.
go underneath in that little section. You know
Well,
what I mean?
Well, yeah, you'd have to have multiple batteries, though, because it requires 2.
Oh, you mean 2 in each one? Okay, well maybe you can put the 2 extra batteries underneath the batteries, like in that extra
Yeah, if you
floorboard
bought
space.
extra batteries, you could carry your extra batteries around. Yeah.
Oh, there's Bluetooth speakers in there.
There is. It comes with a Bluetooth speaker built
I wonder
in.
how loud it is. Well, I mean,
I
the bike
don't
is
know.
quiet, so if you're really just in the country, you don't need it to be super loud.
Yeah.
It's not like you have any road noise.
It has a red tail light. I don't know if it's an active brake light, but it's got a headlight. It's got a tail light. It has Bluetooth speakers. It has an LED display.
And it must not be road legal because it says ideal.
Oh, no, it's a mini bike.
It says
Yeah.
ideal for 14 plus years
Yeah.
and
no,
under
definitely-
220. So not for
Yeah.
men at vintage days necessarily, but
There's plenty of mini bikes that say under 200 pounds.
it doesn't matter. It's just a little slower.
No.
Oh.
But front and rear
battery.
suspension, it looks like 3,000 watt max power. I think it's 1,000 watt continuous, which is better than a lot of e-bikes. A lot of e-bikes are in the 500 to 750 watt range. So I don't know. Pretty slick. Right now they're marketing it as the industry's only mini bike with reverse mode, which will technically not be true once Ego releases theirs.
Can you do that like pretty easily on an electric bike?
Yeah, because you can just reverse the polarity of the motor and spin the motor backwards.
I mean, small enough. I really wouldn't even think about it. Just pick it up and move it.
Yeah,
I wonder how much it weighs.
that's a good question. I don't know.
I wonder if anyone cares.
I don't know that anyone will really care. It's basically, like I said, exactly a mini bike frame. It's just missing the engine out of it, and it's got 2 8-amp-hour
Hold on,
batteries
we have the
in it.
specs.
220,
Let's see.
no, 220, 143.3 pounds.
It's a little BB.
Yeah. Would
Lighter
you
than
ride
that,
this
so-
around vintage days?
Yeah. It looks way more comfortable than the sketch little thing I was riding before.
Yeah, it's got a pretty big seat on it.
Plus, I'm a pretty sensitive person when it comes to noise.
Oh, I know.
So I feel like an electric vehicle would be ideal in that situation. If it's not like a safety risk,
Yeah.
I'd go quiet any day just because I think it allows you to kind of like
Safety from
meditate.
what aspect?
Like you're not on the road, you don't need to be heard.
Well, I mean, vintage days is kind of
Well,
wild.
I know, but like,
But they help you out with that. You have a Bluetooth speaker. You can play engine sounds.
That would be hilarious. Can I just play like our intro, the Moto Hop intro,
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
over and over and over again?
Actually, that's what we'll do is we'll just we'll buy 2 of these. We'll just blare our podcast episodes out of them.
I'm gonna fly a flag.
We'll just park them in corners of the swap meet and subject everyone to listening to Moto Hop on air and just walk away from the bikes.
Because this is quite a bit faster than the Honda. God, what is that thing called? Motocompacto?
Yes, the
what it was?
Motocompacto. Yes.
God, what a horrible name.
Well, it's only slightly different from Motocompo.
I know. I think it's so close that I like second guess
forgetting
myself. Plus, it just sounds like a super ultra mega, type labeling system.
I mean, Motocompacto makes me think like compact disc for some reason.
Oh, I'll have a little bit of a.
I mean, it is pretty tiny by the dimensions.
Yeah,
But this
but
thing
we can't
has
race them or anything.
Bluetooth speakers built
This
in.
thing is definitely
Or we-
bigger, faster, stronger
Sure.
than the little BB with the tiny little scooter wheels. I would say this is obviously more all-terrain. The other one is more of an urban.
Yeah. So
adventure.
the question is do we get one of each and use the Motocompacto as the rolling billboard and this is the rolling sound system, or do we just get this and then put sides on it to make it into a rolling billboard and sound system?
I feel like this is one of those things like this would be funner. Like this Greenworks, funner in the sense that like it can go faster. It can, I don't know, swap the batteries. Like functionally, it seems more practical.
Yeah.
The Motocompacto seems more fun and weird.
That's fair.
And probably less comfortable. But this would blend in. I feel like this would genuinely probably blend in to an extent because it looks a little more typical mini bike.
Well,
But this would be more comfortable for sure.
yeah. I mean, it's definitely going to be more, it looks way more comfortable than the Motocompacto. I would agree with that. They also make, if I can get it to pull up here, a go-kart, Greenworks. It's in that last image there that shows all the other tools. It's right above the mini bike. There's a go-kart. And there's also a side-by-side.
Oh, I see the go-kart. Yeah, we could ride on the go-kart together. Fun.
Yeah, I don't see the side-by-side on their website. I may just be missing it. Or they like forgot it was in there and it's something they're planning on coming out with eventually.
It's listed as mobility as its like benefit on that graphic.
Well, yeah. It drives you around.
Yeah, it's just like when I think mobility, I'm thinking like mobility scooter, not...
That's what they're referring to all these electric things as.
Oh.
Right.
I'm thinking that this graphic is not to scale. Otherwise, that is a very large shop vac.
I don't think it's
Hide
to
your
scale.
dogs.
Yeah. But $1,500, you get the 2 batteries, you get the rapid charger. The charge time on this, do you remember what the Motocompacto was?
You said 3.5 hours,
Yeah.
right?
Did you see what the charge time on this was?
I did not. But
An
you can
hour and a
swap-
half.
And you can swap batteries.
Yes, an hour and a half, and you have swappable batteries.
I think the batteries on the Motocompo, like that swappability will be a huge, I don't want to say make or break, but like a huge like differentiator.
Yeah.
Depending on how you use it in your lifestyle. But
Holy
again.
moly. I found that Greenworks side by side.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's cheaper than that one we saw at Iron Pony that had like a plow and a quad cap on it.
God,
but
the thing was like taller and bigger than my car.
it is an 82 volt system. 75 miles per charge. Cargo bed capacity 550 pounds. 1,500 pound towing capacity. Max speed
What?
29 miles an hour. Charge time 11 hours.
Well, overnight.
28,999.
$28,000. I mean,
You can go buy a new car.
maybe not, but pretty close. Maybe a smart car or something. That was a pretty lightly used car.
Yeah.
There
So
are people out there that have the budget.
I think it's cool that we're starting to see these swappable batteries we can use in other stuff being used in.
Yeah, like little ecosystems.
Yeah. Battery ecosystems are starting to develop. We have 2-wheeled things. Noco's thing was like, it's going to be the ultimate dad gift. Like when Milwaukee comes out with
Yeah.
one, if you're a Milwaukee person, like you get the Milwaukee bike and you ride it down to the hardware store when you need a part. Because what's cooler than showing up to the hardware store on your like Tool branded bike?
Oh my, I'm just like, drifting off and thinking about like a Tesla Motocompacto. Thinking about what kind of ecosystems they could do with like bigger batteries, but obviously like they can't be too big.
Yeah. So all of this electric stuff though has made me think, I think I want to do an episode that's going to be a history of electric motorcycles and kind of how we ended up here.
I mean, how long is that history going to go back?
I mean, the early stuff we'll rip through pretty quick. I think the big starting point is the relatively recent stuff, meaning I'm forgetting the name of the company off the top of my head now. Polaris, which is Indian Motorcycle now, formerly Victory.
Mm-hmm.
Under the Victory brand, they had a motorcycle called the Impulse TT. And they acquired that from another company. And I don't remember who it was now. But the Impulse TT was... You
don't have to go super in depth if you're going to do an episode on this stuff. Save some knowledge for the next one.
Bramo, that's who it was. Bramo was one of the first like modern innovators in electric motorcycles. And electric bikes, if I remember correctly. There'll be more details in this history episode that I come up with at some point. But it really bums me out that bike doesn't exist. It had a regular transmission, like a normal motorcycle. Like it had a clutch and gears. And I think we might get back there eventually. Kawasaki seems to be leaning that angle that they want to keep clutches and gears around at least to some capacity.
That would probably be like a comfort factor for some of the people making a transition.
Well, and it's like part of the motorcycle
ride.
Experience.
Yeah.
Right?
It'll be, again, back to differentiators. Like if you just go all electric and take the art, take, like you said, the experience out of it, it kind of...
Yeah.
It's going to bring new people in, but you're going to lose people.
Yeah. Part of this march of progress, though, is pushing more and more technology both into bikes and like motorcycle gear. If you are somehow living under a rock and don't watch Fort 9 on YouTube.
I live under that rock.
No, you've watched those videos with me before.
Oh.
There's some
unknowingly, I'm being brainwashed.
There's some of the most well-produced motorcycle content on YouTube. Ryan F9 and the production team over at Fort 9 do a fantastic job. They just dropped a video this week on the Shoei Optixon, which is Shoei's kind of beta test.
Okay, so I watched that video.
Yep.
It looked like trash.
Well, because it's their first attempt, right? This is a learning device for them.
Yeah.
You can't just go buy one. At the beginning of the video, he talked about like all the hoops you have to jump through to acquire one of these.
Had to go through like the black market, motorcycle black market to get one.
Yeah, you have to like go to Japan.
You gotta like know someone.
Yeah.
Slide them a Post-it note and give them the password.
Yeah, but so they're working on making heads-up displays and motorcycle helmets reality. And the big takeaway is the reason they're working on it is for things that motorcycles cannot or don't currently relay to the rider fast enough to be useful.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like some of that, like, they had a good point. They're like, oh, like crash detection, by the time you realize what's going on, it's like too late. You're already like a smashed bug.
Yeah.
But with speed and stuff, though, or if you could even connect it to your phone and get directions, because I know that's a huge obstacle with you. It's just like that GPS aspect of like attaching your phone and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with directions, and he kind of talks about this, we already have this like audio interface because I don't know, maybe not most people, more people than ever have Bluetooth in their helmet.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can't see my phone, like when I rode the Scarabeo home, I just turned the like voiceover instructions on my phone and it spoke the directions to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
The couple use cases that are cool for a heads-up display. One, you forgot your blinker was on.
Yeah.
Right? Because sometimes you just don't see the indicator down on your dash.
Or you can't hear it.
Yeah.
Like you do in a car.
Yep. As everyone starts adding radar to these bikes for a multitude of reasons or uses, like proximity warnings or crash detection warnings, like someone's entering your lane or too close behind you, that's kind of cool.
Can never have enough safety.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how it develops. There's been a few different manufacturers. I think of most of them up until this point. Shoei's the first like big name helmet manufacturer, to my knowledge, to do like a proper heads-up display attempt at a helmet. But
then you're committed to their helmet, right? Like,
yeah, but if they do it,
because I feel like I
once
saw
they make
that
it work,
there was like people working on glasses to where that's much more adaptable.
BMW.
Like pick your own helmet. That to
Yep.
me is more attractive, because what if you like the technology but you don't like the helmet, like, or it doesn't?
Yeah. Right.
Different standards, different places. It seems like it could be a huge make or break, because that helmet was like $900.
Yeah, eventually the price would come down, right? Because again, this is a early adopter price. They're trying to get a small focus group of people out there to utilize these helmets and get feedback and see what works and what doesn't work, and make the next one and the one after that, and eventually get one that they feel is consumer ready. You don't have to take like 3 planes and go buy this thing in a back alley to acquire it. But I agree. I think disconnecting it from the helmet and being able to select your own helmet and then retrofit it in would be the most ideal way for this technology to eventually get to consumers. Like Bluetooth. Like, I like our Cardo units. Some people like the Senna units or Lexan, or insert 25,000 different
Similar
brands
concept.
on Amazon.
Yeah, all the
right?
same.
Pick your helmet, pick your heads-up display provider, right?
Yeah.
Or glasses, smart glasses, whatever. Seems interesting. We'll see how it develops over the next couple of years.
Yeah. As much as I don't agree with it, there is also the market of people that don't wear helmets. And if you had glasses, it would be...
You can sell to all those Harley riders.
Give them at least another layer of protection. If they aren't going to wear the hardware, give them some software, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. That's an interesting thought. I've never thought about that. Plenty of states don't have helmet laws. Do any of them not have eye protection laws? Like state of Ohio, you don't have to wear a helmet, but you have to protect your eyes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. But if you have smart glasses, then you can sell to all those people that need eye protection anyways, right?
You would sell it to anyone, really. Like, why limit yourself to the motorcycle market?
Well, yeah, I mean...
Like people with cars
already
old
have
cars.
HUDs and are moving in that direction.
I get that, but it's going to take a while to catch up. It would be a lot easier to manufacture these glasses, depending on what you're using them for, obviously. But even just mile per hour, maybe someone on like a bike, like an actual bicycle might want that. Like, it doesn't have to be a motorized vehicle in order to appreciate. Maybe someone just runs really fast downhill.
And wants to know how fast they're running. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what an Apple Watch is for, or a Garmin running watch
Does that have
is for.
speed on it?
Yeah, there's a GPS in there.
Apparently, I don't run fast enough.
So the next one, I think, may motivate me to finally publish one of the like 5 blog posts I've written and haven't gotten to the point of actually publishing.
Those?
I have so many sitting in draft that I just haven't actually published. So there's a Kickstarter. By the time this drops, you'll have, I don't know, if you download it right away, because we'll probably drop this tomorrow morning, you'll have like 24 hours. It is a Apple CarPlay and Android Auto retrofittable display for your motorcycle. And it just like clamps on. It's got like a claw mount.
Good.
I kind of built this for way less than this costs.
On your iPhone?
No.
Oh.
I bought a cheap Android phone. I think it was a track phone for like $30. And then I bought a small dongle that basically is a Apple CarPlay receiver to USB-C, if I remember correctly.
I remember you buying the phone.
Yep. And then used that Android phone as my CarPlay display. And then my iPhone would just connect to it and project CarPlay onto that phone. The hiccup was, what I realized at the end of the day is I'd need a bunch of these, or I'd constantly have to transfer this whole rig across all my bikes. And thus I just ended up with quad lock mounts on everything. Because why I started working on it was after the rascal killed my iPhone camera stabilization. So I was like, well, I'll just put a...
Slow, shaky death.
Yeah.
Shaken phone syndrome.
But if you don't want to build this for yourself, and the one cool thing that they have that I didn't, Actually, a couple of cool things. They're going to have integration with tire pressure monitoring systems, which is kind of cool. They're also going to have integration with 2 cameras, so you can have both a front-facing and a rear-facing dash cam built into it.
That seems kind of funny to have dash cameras on such a... Assuming you're using it for a motorcycle, like, can you... I guess if you had a seat, you couldn't see over the seat. Like, if you had a rider seat in the back, you couldn't see to, like, back it up.
Not for that purpose. More for, like, you're hit and you're in court.
Oh.
Right.
As, like, evidence.
Yeah.
Got it.
I think more for that than anything. But if you're interested in it, it's like I said, it's a cool idea. If you're just interested in the Apple CarPlay, Android Auto functionality, you can do this for way less. I'll eventually get around to actually publishing the blog post. It'll be on motohop.co.
It looks like you can pledge to this for under $300.
$269 super early bird. They still have like 40 of them left.
A decent amount. 59 left of 100.
100 left of the regular early bird, $299. If you want the cameras, super early bird is $299. They got 14 of them left. And the regular, let's see. They've got super early bird, one of the displays with 2 cameras and 2 tire pressure sensors. 33 of those left. That's $339. And then everything else is over $500. Interesting idea. They're likely taking virtually already off the shelf displays from some factory in China and gluing this together. But no one's done it yet. I don't know why. So kudos for them for putting it together, the idea, and doing it. Innovation. The cameras are a nice addition. The TPMS you could do with the whole Android phone idea that I had put together. I guess you could probably do the cameras too. I didn't really think about that.
Yeah, it's more consolidated it all, put in one spot.
Yeah, you don't have to do anything. You just got to send them money. And it is a Kickstarter, so in theory, you send them money and
hope
maybe
you get something.
Yeah, maybe they'll send you a product. If you don't want to risk it, you can do it. Android phone, AirPlay dongle, just mount up the phone, and then you can AirPlay your phone to the Android phone, which will become your AirPlay display. Or, not AirPlay, Apple CarPlay. So, I don't know.
Just a quick afternoon project.
Yep. And then, I kind of forgot we didn't cover it at the beginning. So,
make it quick.
Yeah, we'll end on this. So, you...
and my wild ideas.
Suggested, because we hit 100 downloads, we should go on a 100-mile ride.
Oh, just a quick,
quick 100 miles.
2-3 hour ride. We'd be back by dinner. We leave at 3.
And we're going to take what?
The Scarabeo.
Yeah, a scooter.
Yeah.
Quick 100 miles on a scooter.
Quick 100 miles. It was
a 150.
3 o'clock. I thought we would be back by 6:30.
Yep.
5 hours later.
We did over 100 miles.
We did. We ended up kind of...
where I don't remember the number.
It was probably like 110 or something.
No, we were closer to like 130.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Go figure why it took. Poor little thing. It really struggled a few times. Not because of us, but I think it...
I mean, that thing's kind of a beast.
At least it started right up when it stalled in the intersections.
I've been chasing... It's randomly stalling. Like, whether it's warm or cold. Sometimes it just stalls. Whenever it's trying to, like, return to idle after you've been, like, at speed for a while. But, all in all, that scooter's kind of a beast. Mm-hmm. I wish someone was still making scooters with Rotax engines. The 150 Rotax in that thing is ridiculous. Because it'll motivate both of us sitting on that thing down the road at over 60 miles an hour. Yeah,
it does pretty good as far as speed. I mean, it's comfortable. It's super comfortable for short distances, but the more we rode, the more it hurt for sure.
Yeah.
As anything would, though.
Well, and the way there was fine. Because we made like multiple stops before we ended up at our final destination.
We probably got a little more than halfway to our final destination. We stopped at the general store to do...
Well, before that, we stopped for fuel.
Oh, yeah. We stopped for fuel after like 15 minutes and then made it like another half an hour and stopped. What did you do? You didn't put your jacket on at that place, did you?
Yeah. We stopped at the general store. I threw my jacket on and I was trying to see if it was going to stall on me again.
And
That
it
was out
didn't.
at what, 83 and
Not Vandemark. It's
Vandemark.
62.
Is that 83 and 62?
62, 162, 262 in Chatham. It's small, teeny tiny town.
Yeah,
It's
general store in Chatham.
If you know, you know. But
Yep.
and then we kept going west. Took, I think it's 162 out there to Wellington. And that's
Went to the Wellington what?
reservation. It's like at their old reservoir.
Yeah. It has all the bugs.
Matt got an
All
experience.
of them.
We live in like a pretty marshy area to where when I walk the dogs, like it's not rare for me to come home with 3 to 4 mosquito bites.
And I
like,
never get mosquito bites.
and I fight
at
them
home.
off. Like they're scavengers. Like they're just complete savages. And they're like always coming at me. And he's always like, I don't understand. It's not a big deal.
They
Well,
never bother me.
they went after
Our
him
roles
at the
were
reservation.
reversed.
Yeah. Well, very wooded, very watery. Maybe it's stagnant water. I don't know. The air wasn't moving that day.
Well, we thought we were going to get to take one of the boats out. Turns
they
out
have
we're
like
too
these
late in the
paddle
season.
pontoon boats, but they probably shut it down Labor Day, so we were a few weeks late on that. So then we drove to Oberlin because we drove through Wellington. There's really not a town to write home about. Cutesy little thing, but not really a destination. So we kept
Had to
going.
go under the new underpass. Under the
New as
railroad
of like
tracks.
10 years ago, if not more.
Was it 10 years ago?
Oh, it's been a
Holy
long
moly.
time. Yeah, we're
Time
old
flies.
now. So made it out to Oberlin, went to the Feeve, I think it's called.
Yep.
Grabbed a quick bite because at that point we were both getting a little hangry, edgy, needed to warm up, honestly, because it was under 70 degrees, so it was not warm. And then I watched you fight with the Bluetooth for about 10-15 minutes until I about lost my mind, and we finally made it home. No stops on the way home, did we?
No.
I mean, not voluntary stops. There was a few stall outs just for fun, but...
Was there? Did I have a stall on the way home?
Yeah, we were... I can't even explain where we were, but I think it stalled out a handful of times. No biggie. I mean, started right back up.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going on the lift next. Going to check the valve clearance.
He's going to give it positive affirmations.
Already, I mean, going to check the valve clearance. I've got a new plug to go in it. Clean the carburetor. See if it wants to cooperate. But all in all, it was a great ride. I had a good time. My butt hurt by the time we got home.
Yeah, it was stiff.
Straight through. That seat's fantastic, but apparently not for like... The way home was... I don't know.
Cold.
Yeah, but probably 60 miles.
Oh, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was probably closer to 70.
Apparently that's the limit of that seat without me standing up like at all.
Yeah, I mean, you get used to it like anything else if you did it enough, but I'm going to need some windproof pants. Like I said, it was mid-60s, maybe lower 60s by the time we got home, and I was in jeans.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it to get as cold as it did.
Because it was sunny when we left here, and then as you
it
get
went like immediate overcast.
Yeah, and it really makes a huge difference when it's under 70, whether or not you got that sun. And with it getting dark sooner, we're like halfway through our venture, and it was like dusk, and it's like, okay, so the whole ride home was dusk, and like the last half hour was dark.
Yeah.
So I just threw those pants right in the wash because they were probably covered in bugs. But also just like, it would have been okay if we had windbreakers. So that's something to look into, that it's like, it could probably give you a couple extra... Another 10 degrees if you just didn't have the wind as a problem. If we had rain gear, that probably would have been enough.
Yeah, I was very happy with the performance of all the lighting I switched out on that thing. Because I switched everything on that bike to LED.
Yeah.
Turn signals, brake light, tail light, headlight, everything's LED. So, yeah, it lit up the night pretty good.
It did. It did better than my old Honda did.
Yeah.
For sure.
So, I'm just excited to see where we go on our 200-mile trip when we hit 200 downloads, right?
Maybe like 25 miles
or
a
are
day
we
for
waiting,
4 days,
or
5 days, 8 days.
Are we going to wait till like 500 miles at 500 downloads?
I'm just not excited anymore. We can outsource miles. If everyone, 200 miles really isn't a lot. If you're like, let's go for a 200-mile ride in your car. It's great because the elements don't matter. Your energy doesn't matter. I feel like there's so much more.
We just haven't done enough time on that scooter.
Yeah.
And all in all, I think it's better. I've got to figure out the like music sharing thing between the headsets because I think that'd go a long ways.
I just sponsor you to ride it on a different bike.
Yeah. But being able to talk to each other, I think makes it like, since we've got the Cardo set up.
You'd otherwise just completely zone out. I'm okay without music. I don't really care about music. It would
but it's
probably
nice
pass the
talking to
time
each other.
faster. Yeah. But definitely talking to each other minimum as just like general engagement, because Otherwise, you don't. There's an element missing when you share an experience with someone if you're not able to communicate, regardless of how that is. Communication is really important, especially when, like I said, it's getting dark, you're cold, you might be a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Just to be able to like either share those needs, concerns, or just general distraction.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm excited for the
live
next
and learn.
one.
Oh, I bet you are, dear.
Yeah. So we'll see at what download mark we decided to do the next hundreds of mile trip. But,
All right. Good night. Bye.
see ya.